Today we're going to start chapter 6 in book 3. We'll be in book 3 for the rest of the year. We're done with book 2. Okay? So at this point we've got at least scheduled 2 more tests. We'll be doing chapters 6 and 7 of book 3 together, and then we'll be doing chapters 8 and 9 of book 3. So that'll be the last 2 tests that we have for the year before the final exam. Today we're going to start looking at transformations. A transformation is just where something gets moved in some way from one place to another. So the question at the beginning is, how can you describe the movement of a figure on a flat surface when it is not moving in a straight line? And the example that they give here is if you're trying to put this puzzle piece into this spot, what has to happen to that puzzle piece in order to make it fit? There are a couple of things that we'd have to do.
It has to flip.
You're going to have to completely flip it over, right? It's if you were actually looking at the puzzle, you would notice that it was, wrong side up. Okay? And then you're also going to have to do what else? You're going to have to turn it some. If you just flip it over, it still isn't oriented quite right. You're going to have to turn it some, and then you're going to have to slide it into place. And actually, you'd have to probably pick it up and then set it back down. So today you're going to look at mathematical ways of sliding, turning, and flipping an object without changing its size or its shape. These types of movements are called rigid transformations. It's the reason they put rigid here is it doesn't change size and it doesn't change shape. The object doesn't change. We'll look at another type, bless you, another type where we actually do change the size and the shape of the object. But today we're just looking at rigid transformations. So you're going to actually be doing some puzzles in a few minutes, not right now, but you're going to be doing some puzzles that help you go through this. So your job is going to be to move. There's going to be a key on the puzzle, and I'll show you this in just a second. There'll be a key on the puzzle, and then there's a place that you need to put the key. So you need to move the key to the right place so that it'll unlock whatever it is. So you'll need to tell the program how you want to move it. Like on this one, we knew we needed to flip it over, we needed to rotate it some, and then we needed to slide it into place. We need to do 3 motions. Those are the 3 different motions that we can have here. You can have a slide, you can have a turn, you can have a flip. Let's go ahead and start learning. Those are, frankly, kind of the baby words for those. Let's go ahead and start learning the correct terms. You can use these for now, but by the end of the unit, you need to be using the more, the more technically correct. So a slide is called a translation. So normally, when you think about translation, if I ask you to explain, what does the word translation mean? What's the most likely, I'll take a volunteer for this, raise your hand. What's the most likely thing that you think someone might say? Yeah. Yeah, translating a language from one language to another language. That's probably the most common one. Now, for everybody, when you translate, do you want to twist the meaning? No, you want it to mean exactly the same thing. So there's no twisting, there's no turning, there's just movement in a direction here. So when you translate, say, from Spanish to English, you want the meaning to stay the same. Well, when we translate here, we're just going to slide it to a new place. We're not going to turn it, we're not going to flip it over, we're not going to do any of that kind of thing. So a turn is called a rotation. So you guys know what to rotate means. I don't think I have to explain that to you. And then a flip, the correct term for that is a reflection. And the reason it's called a reflection is, do you see how these are mirror images of each other? It's a little bit like if you were to put your hands out in front of you so that you're looking at the backs of your hands are not completely, but pretty close to being mirror images of one another. Now, nobody's hands are exactly alike, and if you have some wear and tear on them, you broke a knuckle, or like on mine from my wedding ring, if I take my wedding ring off, that finger isn't as big around as the other one is anymore because I've worn my wedding ring for 30 odd years. Okay? So anything like that changes it, but they're basically mirror images of one another. Okay? So that's why it's called a reflection. Now, if you want to call it a slide, a turn, and a flip to start with, that's fine. But again, by the end of the unit, we're going to be calling them by the correct names. Okay? All right. So there are 14 different puzzles that you can do. We're not going to do them yet. I'm going to show you one. So let's see. Where is it? Is it here? Yes. Okay. So here's where the key is currently, and this little dot kind of helps you know where you want to go. I want this dot to move to this place, and I want the key to be oriented the same way this is so that it fits in. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's a little keyhole down there. Okay? There are 3 different kinds of moves that you can do. This is the slide, which is a translation. This is a turn, which is a rotation. And this is a flip, which is a reflection. So it doesn't matter. There are probably a dozen ways to do this. I try to do it in the shortest amount of time possible. Okay? So one thing that I might want to do here is I notice, okay, this is not oriented the same way this is it? It needs to be rotated. How much does it need to rotate? Is it 500 degrees? It needs to rotate 90 degrees. And which direction does it need to rotate? So when you're talking about rotation, we're always going to talk about clockwise or counterclockwise for these. I want it to go counterclockwise 90 degrees. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to tell it, okay, I want to do this. And if I keep hitting it, it'll change it to 180, to 270, back to 0. All right? If I click that, it does the rotation for me. And I'm like, okay, now it's oriented the right way. If you don't like that, if you're like, oh, that didn't work, you thought something was going to work, but it didn't, just click on the X and it goes away. By the way, what's a different way? You guys are smart people. What's a different way I could do a rotation that ended up the same way? Well, if I do 90 degrees clockwise,
270 degrees clockwise?
let's try 270 degrees clockwise. It's the same thing, isn't it? 90 degrees clockwise, or 90 degrees counterclockwise, is the same as 270 counterclockwise. So I'm going to go back to 90 degrees clockwise because that's what counterclockwise because that's what y'all did first. All right. Now it's oriented the right way. Do I need to turn it or flip it over any at all at this point? No. So, but I still need to move this from here all the way over to here. Now, when I do the slide, as they call it, the translation, it's which direction are you going to move along the x-axis and which direction are you going to move along the y-axis and how far. So if I want this point to eventually end up here, how far do I need to move it parallel to the x-axis? Pardon? I think it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to move it 7 spaces. And which direction do I need to move it? In a positive direction or a negative direction? A negative direction. And you can go ahead and do the y at the same time. Once it moves there, then where do I need to move it? Down, which is a positive direction or a negative direction? -6. And I'll tell it to do that. And it fit. Now, on your paper, what you're going to do is you're going to write the moves. You can wait until after you've done all of it to write them, right? But we did a turn. We did 90 degrees counterclockwise about the tip of the key. And then we did a horizontal of -7 and a vertical of -6. All right, let me show you one more. Now, they get progressively harder. Eventually, you get to ones where there are things that are in the way that you have to figure out how to go around. They're not all this simple. So if I go to the next one. Okay. What's one of the things that I need to do? There are a couple things that I think I need to do. Let's try the rotate 180. Which direction?
Counter.
Okay.
No, because that's upside down.
So how I need to flip this over, right?
Reflection.
I need to do a reflection. Now, when I do a reflection, you can either do a reflection from side to side, or you can do a reflection up and down. I need to do a side to side reflection. When you do that, it says x equals some number. That's what you're flipping it over. That's where your mirror is going to be. So like, for example, if I do my mirror at x equals -3, see how it draws the mirror line and this is reflected all the way over? Did I need to go that far? No. So let's reflect a little less. What if I just reflected it over x is 1? See how it's now on that same spot? Now, unfortunately, what I really would have liked to have done is reflected it over 1.5. If I had done that, then this point would have moved over to here. And the rest of the key would have moved over here, and then I would have had to translate it a little less. But that's fine. So I reflected that. Now what do I need to do?
Move it.
Translate it in the x direction. 1, so horizontally 1 space, and vertically how far? -4. And we're all set. Something wrong, gentlemen? Okay, so the address for where to get to these is on your page. Please use that to go use your iPad. If you want to, I think you can pick the ones you want. I'm not positive. No. Oh, you can select any puzzle you want. So if you want to do like one of these challenging ones to start with, or one of these ones with a wall, like this one, where you got to get this to move over to here, but it can't ever touch this red wall.
What if it does?
It won't do it.
I thought it was like.
It'll go doink. No, it doesn't explode.